That was my past when I had no knowledge about an editing setup, or for that matter, PC specifications. Hey guys, welcome back to yet another episode of the Indian Filmmaker. So it's worldwide truth. For better, smoother and lag-free post-production, what matters the most is the machine you work on. So today's episode is dedicated to the machine itself and all the PC specifications. Well, since I was a beginner, I never used to understand why my computer is lagging when I edit. And
why is that the software is crashing again and again at a certain frame in the edit? Nokore baba, sorry.
Due to poor PC specifications, I literally have been through days like when I had to edit the entire finished project, right from importing the footage again and again. So after spending days and nights crashing off the project files and opening up the computer path and understanding the assembly of it for over 2 to 3 years, I gained enough knowledge through my failures in terms of the hardware required to support that software. Well, I'm not saying that I'm the Funsuk Wangdu, but I'm here to explain you why the computer must be lagging and hopefully help you understand better what your computer must be lacking. Well, let's dive right into my PC and let me tell you what my PC specifications are. Yeah, so let's literally dive into my computer. Are you watching closely?
अरे यार एक glitch क्यों music? ये क्रोमा को की आउट किया था, थोड़ा rewind कर लेते. Play. Superhero landing is just too impractical and really hard on your knees. Well, moving on with that, this baby runs on an Intel i7 3770. The third generation i7 is the most hottest CPU ever made on this planet as per Google, so you need something to cool it off, right? So I've got this hypnotic cooler from NZXT. It is the Kraken X62. It comes with a 280mm dual radiator with two 140mm fans. Well, also to tell you about PC maintenance, you gotta open it up and clean it every couple of months, or else it might start to get real interstellar in here, man. That's really clean. I've also got the Corsair Vengeance 16GB DDR3 RAM with a Gigabyte Z77P D3 motherboard. Newsflash! All these components won't function if they don't have a decent power supply, Sanket. Well, this is just poor screenplay writing, bro. You should have technically explained them first about the power supply and then the other components. Because power comes first and then the responsibility. Does it ring a bell? Well, enough of your Marvel puns, buddy. I was just gonna talk about power supply. Well, actually my power supply is from Corsair and it's the VS550. Well, I agree it's a basic one, but it does the job pretty well. Well, it's actually quite not visible in the frame, all thanks to the epic cabinet from NZXT. It's the Noctis 450. Well, this case is actually good for cable management and it hides my power supply right beneath the shroud which I'm standing on. Well, this case is also good for airflow because it came with three 120mm fans in the front with a magnetic dust filter and one 140mm fan in the rear to keep things cool inside the cabinet. Well, talking about hard drives, I actually am standing on one. It's the Intel 180GB SSD. Well, it's actually my system drive. I even have a dedicated 2TB internal WD green hard drive for data backup. Well, I even have a 1TB external and a 4TB external WD hard drive again for backup. Well, it's never ending. The more you spend, the more you have the space to keep your data. Well, personally, as an editor and the obsession for perfection, I've got tons and tons of footage in here. Well, Sanket, it's measured in terabytes. Well, thank you for that info. You're welcome. What are you doing? No. Well, it's the Hue Plus hub from NZXT and it controls all the LED lighting inside the cabinet. Well, the most prized possession of this case is no, it's not the GoPro, it's this, the Asus Strix NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 8GB overclocked edition Republic of Gamers graphic card. Let me just keep this for a while. It's like actually started to get really hot in here. The temperature is like killing right now. Whew, I really need to get out of here. So they were just PC parts which are required for a strong productivity setup. Now I'll be explaining you the functioning of each one of them in relation with the editing software. So let's just like go to the desk and continue from there, I think. Yeah. So while editing, you may face a lot of problems such as your timeline might start to become lengthy and it might end up crashing and never open up again. So all your efforts will go down the gutter. That is because your computer might be lacking two things. The first is the RAM and the second is the graphics card performance. So while building your PC based on your budget, obviously, try spending some good amount of money on RAM and make sure that you buy at least minimum of 16GB of RAM, and you can buy a decent graphic card if you don't want to do VFX and all that stuff. But hey, you can always later on upgrade your graphics performance. While editing, try to shut down all the other applications in the background so that it might save you some RAM on your computer if you are really less on the RAM. If your computer crashes or lags while exporting videos or footage and fails to export out footage, it means you have a really weak processor. A processor is the most important when it comes to video editing because it is literally the brain of your computer. So the more number of cores you have on your processor, the more efficiently and smoothly your software will function. In terms of editing, even the processor speed doesn't matter that much. All that matters is the number of cores your processor has. So if you have a really good budget, then consider buying the i9 or the i7 processor. The processor mainly comes to use in terms of editing is when you start exporting or rendering your footage. The last one, that is the storage, there are literally a bunch of options available for that, from the SSD to the SATA hard drives to the mSATA and the M.2 SSDs. It's quite a lot, I know. I have one SSD in which I have installed my OS and the editing software. So if you have installed your OS and editing software on the C drive, that is the SSD, then your software will run much more smoothly the way you expect it to. Also, your PC will boot up faster than ever. I have a 1TB and a 4TB external hard drive again for backup, which is actually quite less for me. If you are an editor or a filmmaker, then you must be knowing this, that how much ever you spend on storage, it's gonna be less in the end. So keep a lot of space for data backup. Also, to tell you that this is the mechanical keyboard from Corsair, is the K95 with the Cherry MX red switches, and the mouse is from Logitech, is the G102. And who doesn't love mechanical key sound? You want to listen? It's just sweet music to the ears. Well, I agree that lags and crashes in or during an edit can be really irritating at times, well, almost every time. But it's a part of editing. Editing really tests your patience and anger on another level. So if your software lags and your system crashes during an edit, then try to remain calm as possible and think about the solution. There are chances that you might do a better job at editing if you just stay calm. Well, my setup is fairly decent and a bit old, you can say. I'm not saying that it's the best out there, but as of now, it's the best for me. It's not an overkill setup, but it's a decent one, so it gives me the comfort while editing. And as I've said, this
in the cinematography episode as well, and saying it now again that you cannot rely upon expensive utensils to make good food, right? So I hope that this video was helpful for you guys out there, and if you enjoyed watching this video, then please leave a like or a dislike if you don't like it, and let us know in the comment section below what you feel about the videos and about the channel, and please share this video with the people who you think might be interested in filmmaking. And last but not the least, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, then please click on that small red button right there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. हो गया? Sorry. भूल गया.
इधर बहुत तेरी.
And the M.2 SSDs. इसके बाद है ना एक कट इधर से लेंगे. There are quite a lot of options to choose from.
Many of the beginners use multiple camera setup while filming. That is not at all wrong to use a multiple camera setup, because many of the feature films have been shot on a multiple camera setup. Multiple camera setup is used to avoid continuity errors. And while using a multiple camera setup, make sure that you use it wisely, because you will create some cinematic flaws which you wouldn't even know. Beginners use zoom in and zoom out while filming, and that looks pretty amateur too. It is not wrong to use a zoom, because many of the Bollywood films from the era of 70s to 80s, almost shots were zoom in and zoom out. And if you have to use